ICT, I engage with price. Like my ultimate engage, my bread and butter is daily, like quadrants. So if it's a wick or gap, I use that. And which like my original was fair value gaps that lay over that. But I've been seeing in the current market condition wicks that I'm like, man, these are insane wicks. Like I've been trading since 2020 and 2022, 2023. Those were different market conditions, and I've never seen it on this level. So I've been using wicks lately. And my first question will be, when using wicks that lay over the daily quadrants, whether I'm using fair value gap or a wick or order block, what if, and I know you spoke about this earlier about hybrid P arrays. And so if I see a couple of, let's say I'm using the 1 minute, I'm seeing a couple of wicks on the daily quadrant level. Would it be like you were saying a couple of talks like this? Would just take the extreme high and extreme lows of the wicks, um, and grading. Let's say if I want to see buying pressure, or I want to see buying what's going up, staying above it.
Did you just say
Could
buying
I
pressure?
I almost said it. I almost said it saying I caught myself. I was like, no, don't say it. And I started out trading with trend lines, so just forgive me, man. Forgive
That's
me. I'm trying to break
hilarious.
my programming. But that's actually insane. But
Then you
so like
apologize. That's even funnier. Like, oh, my bad.
because ICT has been telling me for the past not like 3 years, we don't believe in that crap.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's hard, switching over.
Well, dude, you got to
And
understand. I was hanging out with Santa Claus the other day, and the Easter Bunny came, and holy shit.
But yeah, man, could I use like the extreme high and the lows of the wicks that lay over? And my second question would be the question that touched my hearts the most. And this has been something that I've been kind of struggling with because I typically love to use fair value gaps. Is let's just say I'm using a fair value gap that lays over the daily, quadrant level, or let's just say I'm using a wick. I haven't gotten to the order block area because it kind of gets a little tricky for me. But let's just say I'm using a fair value gap, and I see the market. The bodies. And one thing you always said always stuck with me: bodies tell the story, wicks do the damage, and that's kind of been kind of telling of this time we've been in lately. So my problem is I'll see bodies like let's say I'm looking for price to go up. I'm seeing bodies lay down where they're not supposed to be, they're supposed to staying, let's say we want to see up and, I want to see the body stay above encroachment. So there'll be times when the market have the bodies close below that. And then let's just say we hit a macro, or let's just say we haven't hit a macro. And then all of a sudden the encroachment becomes sensitive. And I've just got stopped out because I've seen one or two candles show sensitivity. And I know previously you talked about, fair value gap being balanced when it goes in it and then goes away and then goes back in it. And I'm like, man, how do I kind of deal with those two things? Or those are my only two questions.
That was a lot. Did you get that,
Yeah.
Michael?
I'm trying to decipher the separations between the two.
Yeah.
I don't really understand when you say, can you lay, like, I don't know what wicks you're talking about when you say the wicks that you're wanting to use the highest high and the lowest low of. Because at first I thought you were talking about my gray pool, but then I lost the tracking of what you were going with. And in the last, I'm not really
I
certain.
have, Michael, I sent pictures in the chat to
Could you
kind of give
send
a
it
better
again?
idea. Yes,
Repost
sir.
it.
I
I'll
sent it
look for it.
again.
Let me see.
Well, that's definitely part of it, bro, because neither one of us were looking in the chat, and I think we both got a little lost there. So,
I love the energy. I just I wasn't able to pull out what the question was.
yeah, no, yes.
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. It should be currently up there. I just reposted it again 2 seconds ago. And this was actually today's move. I actually been seeing so many moves that kind of line up with this, and it's.
Okay, so now I'm looking at the chart to the left where you have the beginning of the
The
run up.
purple is the daily fair value gap. and then the red is the wicks that lay over. Like the wicks have to lay over the quadrant level. It can't be, kind of has to lay over. Like if I was using the fair value gap, and I've kind of like took an extreme of the wicks that lay over that quadrant.
Okay, well, tell me which one of those wicks you're anchored to for the highest high.
So what I've been um, using is the wick. So there's a couple of wicks that lay over that quadrant level, and with I'm because that's one of the problems I used to deal with is which wick do I use, and I would see multiple wicks lay over the quadrant level, and I'm like, man, which one's the best one? And then I back tested, you know, because I like experimenting with things, and I was like, man, what if I just use the range of the wicks that just lay over?
Mm-hmm.
Because some candles, the body goes over the quadrant level and the wicks are outside, but there's some wicks that lay on top of the quadrant level that I like to anchor, and I just wanted your feedback on that.
Well, if when you're able to do so, look at the 47-minute after 9. So
Yes, sir.
9:47 Eastern time this morning. That wick is the one I actually highlight during the live stream. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
why I picked that one, this is going to be the basis for how you pick the wicks to choose from. When we were running higher after 9:47, and it created that little short-term high formed at 9:56 Eastern time. That retracement back down, there was really no gap in there to work with that was useful. So
Mm-hmm.
I elected to use the 947 wick because it was the largest, tallest one prior to that price run that took out the high of 942. So we're seeing a market structure shift there. It rallied higher, and then pulling back down into that, the bodies were not even touching the consequent encroachment of 947's candle. The fact that it didn't
Yeah.
do that, it was indicating, as I mentioned, that that's a signature or a telltale sign that Phil's probably going to run this thing higher. And there it went. So you're
Okay.
looking for the wick, the tallest wick that price ran above when you're bullish.
Mm-hmm.
It'll use constant encroachment of that. So I don't think it's necessary for you to be like looking for layering over top of multiple wicks and the highest high and lows. I don't personally do anything like that. But what you watch
Mm-hmm.
me do here and when I've taught in other instances, that's all I do with the wicks. I don't really go beyond that.
Okay.
If you find
So
something and it's neat and you see something working, by all means, if you're feeling like you want to share it, then please. But I personally, I just don't do anything like that.
I got you. And my last question would be like, let's just say I have like this, or I kind of said it, but I'm sorry. Like I want to see upper prices, but let's just say the bodies aren't being sensitive. Let's say we want to see price go up. The bodies aren't being sensitive above it, and bodies keep going below it, and then staying kind of in that range, and then out of nowhere it just becomes sensitive and then it moves. Like, is there a way to like kind of navigate through that, or that's just kind of a time where I just need to sit on my hands?
Okay, just for my sake, because I'm an older dude now, let's assume that we're
Yes, sir.
watching a SIBI. So at the sell side
Yes, sir.
amount, spot side inefficiency, we expect the prices to go higher. The consequent encroachment level has been breached. We traded outside of it on the upside, and now we're coming back down in. But instead of staying in the upper half, where premium sensitivity is showing, and we want to see it discount sensitivity. Oh, I said that wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I apologize. I said that wrong. Where the bodies are staying in the upper half, which is what we want to see. We don't want to see them in the lower half if we're expecting it to be bullish. So we're seeing discount sensitivity. If it's doing the opposite and you're wanting to see it go higher, but the bodies are staying in the lower half, but then it transitions to then now shooting to show only in the upper portion is the body's being permitted and it's not going in the lower. Is that something transitional?
Okay.
No, I'm asking. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm asking, what would I do in that situation if I'm not seeing it line up with the upper, the upper.
In that instance, I would wait for it to create a run outside of it and then take the first fair value gap or the first down close candle as an order block to get into that because it would need to shake off that indecisiveness because it's either going to deliver perfectly with the order flow concept I'm teaching or it's not. And it's great to identify when it's not, because it makes it easy for you to say, I'm not going to touch it yet.
Yeah.
Does it make sense?
Yes, sir.
If
Yeah,
you
that makes sense.
if you demand the highest degree of confirmation based on what we're looking for, if it's bullish, it's going to stay out of the lower half. Okay? If it's bearish, it's going to stay out of the upper half. And if you stick to that, I promise you, a lot of the uncertainty or the sloppy trades or the ones that tend to spend too much time before running in your favor, even if they do, that gets kind of it brooms it away, and you get less of that type of thing happening in your trades.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, that's all I had. Thank you.
You're very
Thank you a
welcome.
lot.
Good question, brother.
Order flow, discount sensitivity for premium price for the seeking of premium price, order flow, premium sensitivity for the continuation of lower pricing. I said that right. I just want to make sure. I'm saying it out loud because I want to make sure I'm saying it right. So the cohesive thought is the upper half, the upper quarter is discount sensitivity because we want it to seek higher pricing. So I'm saying it out loud for myself, and I heard Michael say it. So I'm also saying it for everyone else. So that's what it is. Discount sensitivity for higher pricing, premium sensitivity for lower pricing, right? Makes sense. It's intuitive, but it's good to kind of walk through.